booktube, Sarah here, and welcome to my channel. Today I'm coming to you with a fun tag video. This is the Guilty Reader book tag. So I was not tagged on this book this tag has been going around booktube for quite some time. I happen to see it, and I actually keep a list of tags that I find other people doing, and I'm like, yes, that one looks like fun. And then when I want to do a tag video, I kind of just pick from that list. And this one, I really wanted to do it because I hadn't done it yet. So this tag was originally done by Read Like Wildfire. Now I went to go find the original video, and it's no longer on YouTube. So I will leave her channel name below. I'm going to check to see if her channel is still available. I'm not absolutely certain. If it is, I will link to her channel. But if not, sorry about that. But I do want to give credit where credit is due. I'm not, like I said, I wasn't tagged by anybody, so I'm not going to mention anybody else. But I have seen this on a number of different people's channels. So there are a handful of questions here, so let's jump in and get started. The first question is, have you ever regifted a book that you've been given? No. I honestly do not get a lot of gifts as as presents, and if I do, they are from my wish list, so they're definitely something that I would have wanted anyway. Have you ever said you've read a book when you haven't? No, and I don't know why you would do that. You know, I'm just picturing, you know, there you are at some gathering with a bunch of other bookish people, you know, maybe even in a bookstore, you know, and you happen upon somebody and they're like, have you read War and Peace? And you're like, oh, totally, I've read War and Peace. Oh my gosh, well, what did you think about it? Well, there was some war. There's some more war. I heard there was some peace, right? If I remember correctly. Like, how do you lie about that? I guess maybe with a lot of the books that are discussed on BookTube, the Harry Potter series, or, you know, even a lot of, you know, Jane Austen works that are heavily in a way spoiled. You could probably BS your way through it, but I don't know why you'd want to, because why? You don't gain anything from it. You're not winning any awards for it. So, you know, you're really only lying to yourself at the end of the day, guys. Have you ever borrowed a book and not returned it? I have a book right here that needs to go back. That's about 2 weeks overdue. I'm taking it. I'm taking my husband to work, and I'm going to drop it off on my way. This tag made me remember that. But no, many, many years ago, I lived in a different town from where I live now. And of course, the first thing I did when I moved into this town was got a library card, because that's the important stuff. Who cares where the post office is, and, you know, where I'm going to get gas and blah, 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 and where the grocery store is? Show me the library. And I lived there for about 6 months, and I was quite a distance. I was a good 2 hours from home, from my family and stuff. So I ended up moving back after about 6 months. Luckily, I was on a month-to-month lease. And when I moved, I had 2 books out from that library, and I do not know what happened to them. If they had come back home with me, I would have driven back to take them back. But I literally could not find them anywhere. I have a feeling that they were left on the floor in the apartment at some point. I was like, oh, I'll take these back, you know, before I actually move home, and that didn't happen. And I ended up getting a letter from that library, and I had to pay to replace the books, which was perfectly fine, you know, my bad. But yeah, that was the one time. But I will admit that oftentimes I am late returning books, and oops, it is what it is. Have you ever read a series out of order? All the flippin' time. I used to not be that way, but now I am, and I'm perfectly okay with it. Life is too short. You know, there are so many books I want to get to, and within series themselves, there are certain books that I'm a little bit more interested in than others, so I will jump ahead or whatever. It doesn't bother me in the least. Have you ever spoiled a book for someone? Not intentionally. I would never intentionally spoil a book. I do my very best to keep my reviews spoiler free. You know, just to kind of give you guys the basic facts and what I liked and disliked about it. If somehow a spoiler comes out, I do apologize, but I would never purposely spoil a book. But then you get to a point, because actually it was Karen from Rather Be Reading was talking about this, because she was mentioning Jane Eyre that she read. And she had never read it before, and she said that she was spoiled for something that happened in it. And then it kind of brings up the discussion of how old does something have to be for you to be spoiled by it? Do you know what I mean? Jane Eyre's a classic. It was written, what, 200 years ago? Almost. So at what point do you not spoil a book anymore? I remember a little bit of a different thing, but it was with a movie. When The Sixth Sense came out, everybody saw that movie except for me. I had no interest in seeing it. And it was like 10 years later, and my dad and I were at we were at the flea market, and we were looking at DVDs. And somebody pulled out a copy of The Sixth Sense. And Dad turned to this woman, he's like, that part, that twist at the end when blah, blah, blah. And I turned and I said, I've never seen it. Dad goes, it came out 10 years ago. Like, in other words, too bad for you if you're getting spoiled by it. You know what I mean? Because that's the thing. Like, at what point does it matter how old a book is, or, you know, can we spoil it? Do you know what I mean? Have you ever dog-eared a book? All the time. All the time. When I read physical books, yeah, I have a huge collection of bookmarks, but occasionally if I'm just quickly putting something down, I will just quickly dog-ear the page or just lay it, like, if it's a mass market paperback, I will crack that spine and put it down. Have you ever told someone you don't own a book when you do? No. Again, why would that be a thing? Why? Maybe because you don't want to lend it out? If you don't want to lend it out, just tell the person, no, I'm sorry, I don't lend out my books. Nothing wrong with that. Have you told someone you haven't read a book when you have? I would like to go back and say, no, I never read 50 Shades of Grey, but no, I read 50 Shades of Grey. I only read the first one, you guys. I couldn't make it through the next two. No, I don't see why. Again, you know, it's part of your reading history. You don't have nothing to be ashamed of. 50 Shades of Grey for its time it got a lot of people reading. A lot of adult women reading, and, you know, kind of created another subgenre of romance in a way. It was always there, but it brought it to the mainstream, if you will. So there's nothing wrong with the book. I just particularly didn't care for it because I thought the writing was horrendous, and I thought our main characters were horrible individuals, both of them. But other than that, you know, like, kudos to everybody who liked it. I mean, I'm not mocking anybody for liking it. If you enjoyed it, good on you. Same as if you enjoyed Twilight, or if you enjoyed, you know, any of those things. You know, there are, hello, How to Flirt with a Naked Werewolf. I'm sure there are several people who would look down, more than several, thousands of people who would look down their nose at me for reading this book. I loved this freaking book. It was amazing. So, you know, each to our own, right? Have you ever skipped a chapter or a section of the book? Yes, I do that. Because sometimes, with contemporary romance and historical romance, you know, there are adult scenes in those books. And I will be honest, I have no problem reading them. I think, whatever, they're in the books. That's what happens. But usually after the first scene, I'm kind of over it and I want to get back to the plot. And especially when some of these are really long and drawn out scenes, you're like, you know, reading away. You're like, oh, they're going at it again. Okay, let me just flip. Okay, oh, here's some dialogue. Okay, oh, no, wait, they're doing it again. Oh, good on him. You know, flip. My God, he's got some stamina. Flip. You know what I mean? Like, I will flip past those scenes because I do not need to keep reading them over and over again. Just get me back to the story, please. And the very last question is, have you ever badmouthed the book you actually liked? No. Because again, why? As I mentioned in one of the previous questions, all the books that you read are what make you a reader. And, you know, badmouthing a book that you didn't like, but a book that you actually liked, why? It's not going to make you look any better. To me, it's almost on par with mocking or bullying or making fun of somebody just because everybody else is. Does that make sense? And I don't see the point in that. I think it's kind of childish, to be honest. But anyway, so that's all that I have for this tag. I do hope that you guys enjoyed it. Please let me know in the comments below your thoughts on these questions. Or if you have not done this tag and you want to do this tag, all the questions will be listed below. Feel free to do it, and you're tagged by me. So go ahead. Let's get this tag going again with our whole new BookTube 2.0 kind of an idea. And yeah, until my next video, everybody, take care and happy reading. Thank you all so much for watching. Bye, guys.